Tonight, the battle over gay marriage finds its way to the Supreme Court. I'll have the latest. Plus, Hugh Hefner says he's had sex with 1,000 women, which means he's only 19,000 away from shattering Wilt Chamberlain's all-time record high. Go Hugh! And the Kardashians are considering legal action over an ad showing them bound and gagged in the back of a car, which is kind of ironic. I mean, wasn't Kim's junk in the trunk what got her famous in the first place? All that and more tonight on Say Anything. Hello, I'm Judy Gold. I'm filling in for Joy Behar, who is still on vacation. Well, she's been gone an awful long time, and I hope everything's okay, Joy. I mean, take as long as you need. So I'm available. Anyway, for 2 days, the Supreme Court has heard arguments for and against Prop 8 and the Defense of Marriage Act. So, what will they decide? That is the big question. Joining me to discuss all the Supreme Court drama is author and activist David Mixner.
How you doing?
A transgender advocate and actress starring in the upcoming Netflix series Orange is the New Black, Laverne.
Hi, darling.
Hello. And the editor of Huffington Post Gay Voices, Noah Michelson.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. This, of course, is a huge part of my life. It's something I've been thinking about for years and years, and it's so wonderful to have all of you here. And I have to give you a shout out because you've been working on this longer than I think all of us combined. So thank you, David, for all the work.
Thank you.
We've heard a lot of what's gone on in the Supreme Court. We've heard a lot of sound bites. Thoughts, David? What do you think? How are you feeling? Are you feeling positive? What do you think is really?
You know, someone asked me how I was feeling, and they said, "Have you ever thought you would see today?" And I said, "This is so out of the ballpark. I didn't even envision this as a possibility,
right.
let alone think if I'd see today." The first thing we have to do is really understand how momentous this is, how historical this is. This is, without question, the most historical week in the history of the LGBT community and its allies. The second thing is we have to be careful to define victory.
Right.
What is victory?
Right.
You know, we're so excited about the momentous event that I don't want our expectations get high. I think we're going to get rid of DOMA. That is huge.
Right.
And I would be shocked if California, in the end, didn't have marriage.
Right.
So if we got rid of DOMA and the largest state in the country had marriage, we should be shouting from the rooftops.
Right. Now, I mean, it is true that people say, oh, it's only California, but that's 11% of the population, which is pretty amazing. And then you think about when marriage passed in New York and Larry Kramer said, oh, don't get so excited. It's the federal government still doesn't recognize it. Right. And everyone said, oh, you're such a bah humbug. But I sort of kind of feel that we kind of have to be spectacle, don't you guys?
Absolutely. It's a very exciting time because for me, it's really just all about equality. One of the most startling moments for me during the Supreme Court arguments yesterday was some of the justices arguing that maybe this isn't the right time, that maybe, you know, we have to wait. And what I immediately thought about is certain gay and lesbian folks and certain gay and lesbian organizations who've said to trans people for really the past 40 years that we have to wait. You know, 11 years ago, right here in New York State, trans folks were told they had to wait. We were dropped from the Sexual Orientation Non-Discrimination Act, SONDA, and 11 years later, we don't have transgender equality in New York State. So on this momentous occasion, I think it's important for us to remember as an LGBT community that all of us don't quite have equality.
Right.
You know, marriage is often an economic issue, and when you look at the transgender community, our unemployment rate is twice that of the national average. If you're a trans person of color, it's 4 times the national average. Last year, 40% of the LGBT murders were trans women.
Right.
So and I'm excited about this, but I think it's really important that we remember that
it's a baby step.
Yeah,
and
we remember the
T.
And also, what are we waiting for, too? You know, either this is right or it's wrong at this point. And I kind of love that Edie Windsor, you know, the plaintiff in the DOMA case, she just came out and gave a speech after the hearing.
Amazing.
And she didn't talk about the benefits that we were going to get or the rights. She talked about this as a very human issue.
Right.
And she said that marriage is a magic word. And it is. And it made me, I actually teared up at my desk when I watched it. And I thought, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about humanity and how, as queer people, we are equal.
Right.
And we should be seen as equal.
Right.
And I'm getting tired of begging them
right.
to say that we are equal.
I want to play a clip. At one point, Justice Alito suggested that gay marriage is a new institution. Just listen to this.
You want us to step in and render a decision based on an assessment of the effects of this institution, which is newer than cell phones or the internet?
After that, he picked up his musket and 8-track player and crawled back to the rock he lives under. What is wrong with him? Have you heard of Liberace, Gertrude Stein, Alice B. Toklas? This is the kind of mentality that we are dealing with.
He's the kind of man that told us for the first 30 years of my life, in a country that values honesty,
right,
to lie.
Right.
You're so bad, David, please lie to us. No wonder he doesn't know any LGBT people, because he's urged us to lie, to be deceitful, to deny our very essence, to deny our very being. And then he has the nerve to say, well, this just surfaced.
Right.
Well, it surfaced because we're not putting up with it anymore.
Right.
We're not taking it anymore. We're not going to lie. We're not going to lose our self-esteem. And we're not going to beg.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not begging them.
No.
Right.
These are my rights.
Yeah.
We're going to court. We're having our day in court. But I'm like you. I saw Edie Windsor walk down those steps, and I teared up. I mean, it was power coming down those steps.
40 years with the same person. They contributed so much to society. And then I hate saying this, but I mean, Jerry Sandusky has more rights than I do.
Right, and she helped her wife die.
Right.
You know, it's like these very human moments that she went through, and this is the gift she's given at the end is, here, pay $363,000 in estate tax.
And
for me, it's important to remember when we talk about redefining marriage that we're really talking about benefits from the state.
Right.
In the United States, we have separation of church and state. So really, this is an issue of benefits. It's an issue
of civil rights.
And ultimately equality. She made the point very aptly that if a straight couple wouldn't have to pay the same estate tax that she did because,
they're a man and a woman, and it really is about liberty. And another argument made by the Prop 8 lawyers was that if you can't make babies, this is one of my favorites, then you shouldn't be married. Right. Here is Justice Kagan's response to that. Listen to this.
Suppose a state said, because we think that the focus of marriage really should be on procreation, we're not going to give marriage licenses anymore to any couple where both people are over the age of 55. Would that be constitutional?
What's amazing is they didn't get it. No. They didn't get it.
And they evoked Strom Thurmond.
Right. Well, he's over 55, and he has. Well, you tell that to my uterus. It's 50, and nothing's coming out of that thing. I'll tell you that.
I think it's really important. There's so many women. I mean, I think it's like it's for me. It's always a gender issue, and it's always intersectionality. There's so many women who are unable to give birth for so many different reasons, and including a lot of trans women, and so. We're supposed to say they can't get married because they can't give birth. I mean, what century exactly are we living in?
Right.
Well, first of all, there is no law anywhere in this country that exists on the books that says you must have children to get married.
Exactly.
Right.
Straight, gay, trans, anybody. It doesn't exist. No. I don't know where this comes in as some sort of legal argument.
Right.
There doesn't exist in one state, one city, one town, anywhere in America, a law saying that in order to have a legitimate marriage, you must have children. It's just bull.
And I'll have to say, my mother always said all her friends who didn't have children have a better marriage and look way younger than she does.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll just say that.
And we have to zoom out even further and look at what is bubbling underneath this idea. It's that gay people are dangerous to children.
Right.
And I'm, that's still going on here, and the debate is still out. The research isn't there. How will children fare with gay parents? No.
But it's important that Kennedy asked the question that I think it's 40,000
in
children
California,
of gays and lesbians in California who will be affected because they'll see their parents as second-class citizens.
Right.
What does it mean for children to grow up in a society and to view their parents as second-class citizens, for gay and lesbian and transgender children to grow up knowing that they're second-class citizens?
Well, as a mother who has had, and I wrote for the Huffington Post, my child had tonsils surgery, and they asked in front of him who the real mother is. Now, they did laugh at this argument about the 55-year-old. Do you think that was a good sign, that there was some sort of humor in the... in the court.
Go ahead.
Well, when we're talking really mostly about Kennedy for Prop 8 as a swing vote, it's encouraging that he was sort of challenging to that and saying, what about the kids? So he's really the swing.
Right.
So that's encouraging to me. I mean, to predict what the Supreme Court is going to do is really kind of problematic, because you never know.
Right.
But his what he had to say yesterday was pretty encouraging.
Yeah.
Here's one thing we do know, no matter how the court rules. We've crossed the River Jordan. There's no going back.
That's
We've
right.
won.
That's right.
Now, none of us are free until all of us are free.
Yes.
And that includes trans, that includes people in Mississippi, it includes people in northern Idaho, include people who has Aryan Brotherhood for their next door neighbors. So none of us are free until all of us are free. But the fact of the matter is, we've crossed the River Jordan.
That's right. We have. More in just a minute. Don't go away. I'm back with David Mixner, Laverne Cox, and Noah Michelson, also known as Michelson in the last segment. Laverne mentioned it, and Justice Kennedy mentioned the impact on children of gay parents. Here's what he had to say.
There are some 40,000 children in California, according to the Red Brief, that live with same-sex parents. And they want their parents to have full recognition and full status. The voice of those children is important in this case, don't you think?
Now, my kids would love for me to be married. Then they would legally have 3 Jewish mothers. Listen, Kennedy is considered the swing justice here, correct? Do you think he was sort of tipping his hat here? What do you think this sort of question, what kind of impact do you think this will have?
Oh, I think Kennedy's a very sympathetic individual towards this issue.
Right.
And he's been good on several previous Supreme Court cases. And one of the things that we have to be very clear about with our children, these children are blessed.
Right.
Because when I was growing up, it was against the law for us to have any children. I remember a court case in Florida where the judge gave a child to someone on death row because the mother was a lesbian.
Right.
And so we love our children. And we are the best parents in the world.
Right. Because, the people don't realize our kids were not mistakes.
No,
I didn't get drunk and call up the sperm bank one night, These kids are wanted children. We go out of our way to create families.
And we know how difficult it was for us to do. And so we're blessed. And the children are blessed because we love them to pieces.
Yeah.
And you talk to them, and a family is a family. They have 2 parents who love them, which is a lot more than most kids have, 2 parents in the house. Justice Roberts also had a lesbian cousin who was attending. How do you think that will affect?
I mean, I just think in terms of visibility, it's great in and of itself, just to say these people, these justices are also real people too, and they have queer family members as well, and this affects all of us.
Right.
And we all know someone who's gay or trans or bi or something at this point, and so I think it also humanized sort of the case in and of itself.
And he doesn't want to go to Thanksgiving with her like glaring at him. Oh, I'll get my turkey, and then my partner will get her turkey. Nancy Pelosi attended as well. So this makes it really sort of political. How do you feel about that? Is it really politics? I mean, I think of this as such a civil human right. People are equating it to Roe v. Wade, but I think it is more of a Loving versus West Virginia. It really is. Or Virginia. I'm sorry, I said West Virginia. I'm sorry. Loving versus Virginia. Do we have any faith that these justices have political neutrality?
No. I have no faith that they have political neutrality. And the reality is that Audre Lorde said the personal is political. All these, the ways in which we live our lives are political. So it's politicized anyway. When we were looking at the Supreme Court last year, Clarence Thomas's wife was involved in an organization that was, anti, affordable health care plan. So it's, the justices are all political.
And he's so vocal, Clarence Thomas. Every time I'm like, shut up, Clarence. Really? Do you think the Dems will use this as a wedge issue to gain momentum?
Well, I mean, how ironic. I mean, I remember in 1988, Mike Dukakis, a group of us wanted to raise $1 million because of HIV and AIDS and gay and LGBT issues. And they turned us down because they didn't want that
They didn't
money.
want that money.
They didn't want that money.
That's right.
And I remember times people would return my check because they didn't want to be associated with me. Now suddenly,
I'll take your check.
so, yeah, I wish I had one to give you. Suddenly, we're very popular politically. But I wanted to say one thing about Pelosi and also about Roberts' cousin. The most revolutionary act that got us here is coming out.
Right, as Harvey Milk.
I mean, it is the most revolutionary act. It is why we're here. The polls show that anyone who knows anybody that it's LGBT, they overwhelmingly support our rights. And if they don't, they overwhelmingly oppose us.
And they all do. Even the ones that say they don't, they do.
That's right. And so wherever you are out there, come out.
Right.
Because if you do, our path will be easier.
Right.
But I think it's important to note, though, so many trans folks I know, I produced a lot of TV shows, and I've attempted to anyway, and so many trans folks who are our best and brightest are afraid to come out because we're still at high risk of being murdered, of being victimized. There's a huge stigma around coming out when you're trans. And it's, I think about this, marriage equality thing, and I think about Stonewall. And the Stonewall Rebellion was started by trans and gender non-conforming people. And there's still not quite the, I look forward to the day when the broad coalitions that have come together around marriage equality come together around transgender equality.
And that will, I too believe that'll happen. Mike Huckabee said in an interview that if the GOP supports gay marriage, he and the other evangelicals will now start their own third party.
God
I guess
should be
it
so
would.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
The tea and cake party. I don't know what they would. I mean, listen. Don't let the doors of the ark hit your ass on the way out. Who cares?
No one cares.
This country was based on the separation of church and state, and we're not asking for religious marriages. And if you're an evangelical, then fine. No, we don't want to get married in your church.
No, and these people are so out of touch. We were in front of the Supreme Court yesterday asking them what are they really afraid of in terms of gay marriage and marriage equality, and they were telling us literally that the world will end. If this happens in June, the world will end. And I think if that's your platform,
I'm getting Botox then. Are
yeah,
you serious?
exactly. So I just think I cannot take these people seriously at all, and they are on their way out.
I believe you.
Go ahead.
The Republican Party is so fractured right now anyway, right? We see that there's gerrymandering and there's a Tea Party and nothing can really get done, and they don't know who they are anyway. So it would be kind of exciting if there was another, split in the Republican Party for me. I would be excited by that.
Well, and we have to be careful. We always have to be vigilant. If you look back at the history of the African American civil rights movement, anti-Semitism, just when you think it's disappeared, it crops its ugly head.
I totally.
And people now are more anti-Semitic than I can remember in a long time.
I know. I totally agree. Which is why I don't have my own show. Anyway, you guys, I could talk to you all night long.
Thank you.
All of you, thank you so much. Laverne's film, The Exhibitionist, is available on Amazon pre-order and will be released on April 23rd, so mark your calendars. David and Noah, I can't thank you enough, and thank you so much. Next, what happens when a bunch of 20-somethings and seniors all move into the same house? Besides a lot of recreational sex, of course. I'll talk with the cast members of the new reality show, Forever Young. Don't go away. My next guests are starring on the new TV Land reality series Forever Young, which fills a house with people in their 20s and people over 70 together. A situation I can surprisingly relate to, but that's a whole other story. So let's take a look at a clip.
I read the paper all the time. I know what's going on in the world, but I forget.
I don't know if you guys are ready for this.
Okay, first question is gonna be for you, Mike. You ready, buddy?
Come on, Mike.
Which war came first? World War II, the Civil War, or the Vietnam War?
World War II.
That's incorrect.
I'm not gonna go read books about things I really don't want to know.
The show premieres Wednesday, April 3rd at 10 p.m. Please welcome my favorite, Mike Markowitz and Emmeline Hanna. Thank you guys so much for being here. Mike, really, when you watch that, any feelings?
Yeah, it was a terrible display by me.
I mean, the Civil War and World War II. I mean, not even close. The Civil War, Abraham Lincoln,
Well, this is what happened, right?
Yeah.
So we were under a time limit here, right?
Right.
So here I was all right, Civil War, and then someone on my team said World War II. So I just went with it for some reason. It was a bad choice.
That is the lamest excuse I have ever. Someone on my team. So there's someone on the team
who's just as dumb.
Well, I was going to say dumber, but thanks for being here, Emily. So wait, all right. So you guys tell us the premise of the show, because I love the premise of the show, because I do believe there is such a huge generation gap now because of social media. But tell us a little bit about what the premise is.
Well, it was me and 4 other people in our 20s, and we thought we were going, just on a spring break show, just to hang out and have fun and just let loose. And then I came in the house and I had Emmeline over here and 4 of the seniors. So,
Seniors?
Yeah.
They look very young. You look fantastic.
Beautiful.
And what did you know before you started?
I had an inkling that something funny was going on.
Right.
And, but I didn't know exactly what it was.
So what did they tell you? You were just going to this house?
We were going to find out how to live life a little easier, how to exercise, how to eat right, things like that. But when I saw the younger people, I was very pleasantly surprised because I knew it was going to be fun.
Right, and you were like, uh-oh, I'm going to be living with my grandparents.
I just didn't know what to expect.
Now, when was the last time you actually lived with roommates, Emmeline?
I never lived with a roommate. I had my husband and my children. Right. But I didn't go to college, so that was one place you would have had.
Right,
Other than that, never.
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 So
it seems I have an awful lot of them now.
Right. And you shared a room with them, right?
Oh yeah.
You had
all 4 women were in one big
Oh my God, that
big
must
bedroom.
Have been, oh, I can't even imagine. And what about you? Did you
Yeah, I shared a room with AA and Christian. And AA would, I guess I was snoring.
It's funny that AA is actually a senior, by the way.
AA, yeah. And he got mad because I guess I had a cold. And I was snoring one day.
Right.
And he comes in and he wakes up and he says, Mike, you gotta stop snoring. You sound like a volcano, Mike. I can't sleep. And it was fun, though, rooming with him.
That's so amazing. And you all got along and bonded.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Mike. I'm going to do something. You have to tell me if you know what I'm doing, just to prove that the generation gap is so vast, okay? Ready?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're doing.
What?
That's the phone, what do you call those phones?
Okay, so...
What do you call it?
The dial.
Yeah, the dial.
The dial, Mike, yeah. All right.
Rotary
It's
phone.
called a rotary phone.
See?
Very nice. See? And it was invented after the Civil War.
Right. Well, we were part of this, so we lived in the Civil War.
Okay, he actually thought that, didn't he?
Probably.
Now, what about the age differences? Like, what did you notice immediately that was different with the seniors? And what did you notice immediately that was the biggest difference between the juniors and you?
Well, I'll tell you, I thought the young guys like Christian, Sam, and Mike were absolutely terrific. And Christian, what surprised me is he came right over to us and shook hands with us and said, "My name is Christian, how are you?" I was shocked because I didn't expect manners like that.
Right, and you like the boys better than the girls, as my mother, same way.
Well,
okay, yes. Women of your generation love men.
I have 3 boys.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And how about you? What did you think the biggest?
I thought the biggest thing was I just didn't know, what to expect. So, when I introduced myself, I tried to get a feel for everybody's personalities. And I saw like a lot of them, everybody was cool, So Shirley's a little wild and stuff, so I couldn't really tell about her at first, but everybody was cool.
So it was sort of a relaxed kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Very much
What
so.
were, you had to, I saw that you went shopping, and your views on money were very different. So you went grocery shopping, you bought junk food and just crap, and you guys are looking at the labels and how much is this, and is this healthy?
You know what it was? I'll tell you what it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know, I didn't buy like the paper towels and the toiletries.
Right, the stuff your mother would already have in the house. Okay, gotcha.
It was more food, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, naturally, we raised families, so we're going to think about eating right.
Yeah, you
The
kinda
last
lucked
thing
out
we're
there.
going to do is to buy just cookies and potato chips.
More with Michael and Emmeline when we come back.
Young people today are selfish.
Old people are stuck in their ways.
They are spoiled, bickering.
They haven't got simple, ordinary manners.
Farting or snoring.
They don't appreciate what they got.
They're not actually living life.
Definitely sexually active.
Stuck in their ways.
Little brats.
Just stubborn people. Oh, forget it.
That was a clip from the upcoming TV Land series Forever Young. And I'm back with two of the stars, Mike and Emmeline. You know what struck me right in the beginning was that when you guys were talking about what it was like being with these older people and I felt like you had no respect. You're like, oh, farting and snoring. I mean, I would never say that. I feel like your generation, don't you realize what you have here? It's a world of knowledge.
No, I do.
Now you do.
Now you do.
Now you do. What? So you had no phones in the house?
No phones.
None. So you couldn't call anyone?
Nothing.
How did that, because I know you people, you walk around with the phones, you have to text. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what actually got, us to get to know everyone, because usually you're on your cell phone,
Right.
you're doing things, computer. So we actually got a chance to sit down and talk to each other, which that's
Do you
unheard
ever
of
do
nowadays.
that with your friends?
Not really. It's
And-
all texting or,
Right. And
so
it's no eye contact and, yeah.
it's something that honestly was lost.
So when you were done and you got your phone back, did you go right back to texting or did you kind of miss that one-on-one?
I honestly, I felt great without the phone.
Right.
Because just all this fuss,
Right.
texting and stuff like that, I felt good without it. It was cool to just talk to people and get to know everyone.
Aww.
It was a relief. It really was.
Now, you both went on dates. I heard.
Yes.
I don't know if it's with each other. I know, you know.
No.
I know Mrs. Brady and Greg had a little fling. So, but
We couldn't mix, the show with pleasure,
did now. All right.
Boy, what a con artist you are.
So you both went on dates. Did you go to each other for advice? Was there any sexual tension in the house?
I don't think, I was like a little annoyed. The younger ones were giving me advice. I
they
didn't want
were?
to hear it. I didn't want to hear it.
What kind of advice did you get?
Well, they wanted me to feed him veal parmesan and
Right.
spaghetti.
Right.
And I didn't want, so how do you tell a date, excuse me while I make veal parmesan, dip it in the batter, fry it? How do you do that?
You prepare it before.
Right.
No, they didn't give us any time. They were always rushing us.
All right, we want to get
so
us
we
to
didn't
that.
listen to
All
them.
right, and what about you?
Well, we had partners, and my partner was Lou. And, Lou, once you see the clips and stuff like that, you know what kind of person he is. He's just out there, he's crazy. So he was just telling me, sometimes girls like it when you're aggressive, be aggressive.
Now,
so, it was good.
Now, what stereotypes do you think you overcame by the end of the show?
For me, I think it's never judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Sometimes like old, young, whatever, like some people look at me, they'll have, an impression of
Like
me right
that you
away.
might be dumb about the Civil War or something like that. Yes.
You'll never
No,
learn that.
I know.
Never.
I'm just teasing.
But it was hard, because, they'll look at me, Jersey Shore or something like that.
Right.
But, it was cool. We all got to know each other's personalities, and it was, I found myself gravitating a lot to the older people and hanging out with them more.
Right.
So, yeah, that's one thing I learned.
And how about you, Emily?
Well, there was one guy, Lou, one of the older ones. He was the football player. I thought he did a terrific job of helping the two generations to bond.
Right.
Because he was very outgoing, a lot of fun, bartender. And, he
I see a
got,
little love match going on here.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh,
but he helped. And,
Right.
if for instance, Andre,
Yeah.
she looked like a little princess.
Right.
Turned out she was a very hardworking girl.
Right.
A lot different
See?
than we thought.
You never know.
Right.
You
Yes,
never
you
know
don't
that,
know.
that I am a
Very
professional
interesting.
rugby player. Okay. Well, you can see Forever Young when it premieres April 3rd on TV Land. And I got to tell you, I love the show. So watch it. It's really awesome. And you guys, thank you so much for being
thank you
here.
so
You were
much.
great.
Thank you.
Now it's Wednesday, which means, yes, another Justin Bieber meltdown. What's gotten into the Biebs? I'll find out from my Fame Stream Media panel next. My favorite lesbian, Justin Bieber, is in trouble again. One of his neighbors in California called the police saying Bieber threatened him and hit him. This leads me to two questions. One, is Bieber out of his mind? And two, is Justin Bieber's neighbor under 4 feet tall and 10 years old? Joining me to answer these questions and to discuss other pop culture stories are co-host of NBC's New York Live and my friend Jackie Reed. Hello. You're supposed to then say hi.
I'm sorry.
You know,
Hi.
it is a TV show. Co-host of That Metal Show, another friend, comedian Jim Florentine.
Hi.
Oh, thank you, Jim. That was perfect. And celebrity lifestyle expert, not a friend, but soon to be, Dorothy Casarseri. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Justin Bieber. What is going on? I mean, I think, you know, the mother was traveling with him. Now the mother's not traveling with him. Then he's walking through the airport. He has no shirt. What is going on with this kid?
I think the mother needs to be with him, even though he's 19. You know, he's a little bit older. He's still a kid. He has so much access to money and so many liberties. He has his own plane, for God's sake. But I think he needs some reining in. He needs some parental guidance.
Right, I totally agree. And he takes off his shirt more than Lena Dunham. I don't want to look at him.
Yeah, but if I had abs like that, I'd be taking my shirt off too.
It's unbelievable.
He's not going to have that long. Once he's in rehab in 2 years, he comes out fat. She's like, let me just show him now.
That's true.
I mean, he started out the same way that all pop stars do,
Yeah.
straight and narrow. You know, but now he's going down a different path, and hopefully he won't turn into the next Miley Cyrus or Lindsay Lohan. But God only knows, because he's been acting out a lot lately.
And it was quick. It's like it just happened.
What
all
was
of a
after
sudden.
he broke up with Selena Gomez?
Oh, God,
I don't
that's
know.
right.
Maybe she was a good influence. She did come from Disney.
That's right. Well, it looks like this is one of my favorite stories that I know Jackie won't be talking about, but it looks like Ann Curry's departure from the Today Show was uglier than we thought. Turns out that NBC forbid her to make any statements of concern to ABC's Robin Roberts when Roberts was sick. Okay, excuse me? All right, so you work for NBC, so you'll act like, oh, I love Matt, I love Matt. Oh, he's fantastic. Really, do you have to check with the NBC people? Like if you're going to, you know, tweet, hey, whatever?
Listen, I've worked, you know, I work in entertainment now, but for years I worked in news. When you sign a contract, there is a morality contract. Everything you do, you have to check. It has to be, you can get fired for things that you do.
But you can't say, Robin, I hope you're feeling great.
Not and probably, if this is true, if this is how it all played out, we don't know.
Oh, God.
We don't. But I'm saying, you know, and probably, because she's a very smart woman, thought, you know, before I do this with the competition, let me just check.
Yeah, but now you and Judy are friends. If Judy broke her arm, would you know, she's on this network, would you tweet her and go, hey, I hope your arm feels better?
I'm telling you.
She hurt her knee recently. I tweeted about it.
Yes.
No big deal.
But isn't it just ridiculous? I just find it. Oh, God, it's really bad, okay? You can be honest. I loved Ann Curry, okay?
I love her. She's still with us. I love her. I'm kind of dying for the moment that Ann Curry is able to actually talk about everything that's happened behind the scenes, because that's a tell-all that I really want to read, because I think she has been really muzzled, and I don't think she's really been allowed to say very much, and I think she has a lot to say.
And I think she's very classy, too.
I
really do. She's
smart
really
and classy. It wouldn't be smart for her to go out and trash NBC at this point.
Right. Now, Jim has no idea about the Today Show because he gets up at 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know the Tonight Show.
Yeah, we'll talk about that soon. Now, there are rumors that Anderson Cooper's been asked to replace Matt Lauer on the Today Show, and that Matt is pissed off about it. Is Matt mad at everyone? He's mad at Ann Curry, he's mad at NBC, he's mad at his hairline, he's apparently mad at socks. I've never seen him wear a pair of socks.
There have also been reports, you know, just hours ago, TMZ reported that Matt, you know, did not make that call, saying he was upset with Anderson, and he said he would be happy if Anderson replaced him. This is according to TMZ, so we don't know if any of it is true. I'm just putting it out there.
Right, NBC.
Yeah, Anderson Cooper is, I mean, he's making $25 million a year, Matt Lauer. You think he's going to be happy that someone's going to take over his job at the end of the year?
And if anyone doesn't need money, it would be Anderson Cooper. Hello, Vanderbilt. But yes, you know, but he's always pissed off. Anderson is up for apparently every job.
That's what my question is. I mean, is there anyone in TV, you know, on the male side, other than Anderson Cooper and Ryan Seacrest that host things? I mean, I just feel like I really love both of them, but at the same time, you know, there's other people that.
And I heard he's going to be taking over for Joy on The View as well. Now, last night, David Letterman explained to Spring Breakers star James Franco why the film's director Harmony Korine had been banned from The Late Show in 1998. The reason, Letterman says, is that he caught Korine in Meryl Streep's dressing room going through her purse. Now, I just want to let you guys know, I don't trust you guys either. Oh my God, where's my diaphragm? Oh, I don't need one. I'm a lesbian. Anyway. What, do you think this is true?
I mean, that's the thing I was saying to you two. You know, when comedians, and I consider David Letterman to be a comedian, when they make jokes, you can't tell whether they're serious or not. And was he joking, or was he because James Franco said, "Are you serious?" And he said, "Yeah, it's a true story. I caught him going through Meryl Streep's purse, and we threw him out."
Well, you're a comedian, too.
But it didn't seem like Dave gave him a chance to even come up with an excuse why. He just threw him out. Maybe he was just looking for some gum.
Oh, come on.
Maybe he needed
a
what the
tissue.
hell?
Yeah.
Maybe he needed a tissue. Maybe his nose was
Well,
running.
Harmony even said, listen, anything's possible. At that moment in my life, it was, years ago, I was going through a lot. I was weirded out. He said, if they invite me to come back, which Letterman did recently, said if he wants to come back on, I will go back on the show. So he said anything was possible. He said it could have happened.
But who wants to go through Meryl Streep's pocketbook?
A lot of people might.
Oh, God.
Would you want to know what's in there?
Yeah.
I'd be kind of curious.
I wouldn't touch it without, her looking.
Well,
Maybe I
I'll
would
tell
ask
you
her,
what's
but-
not in there, and that would be a tampon. Now, actress Tilda Swinton has created a new art installation at the MoMA where people can see her sleeping in a glass box.
Why didn't I think of this?
It's now.
Why didn't I think of this?
If it was me, I would have my mouth guard in, my breathe right on, a face mask, a nightstand with 75 different medications on it. What is this art?
She looks amazing. Her hair looks great. I do have to say that. She looks amazing. I wish I had thought
The
of
homeless been doing this for years. It was never art.
Just a cardboard box instead of a glass box.
I don't know what the difference is.
This is a really interesting story because it really makes you think to yourself, how much self-discipline does Tilda Swinton have? I mean, they've been saying that she'll take a little tiny bit of water out of a little canister that she has, but still without waking up, kind of like rolling over in a restless sleep. And so I'm just thinking, if I had to lay there with my eyes closed for 8 hours straight, I would be really bad at that.
I would go to sleep.
I don't understand why this is art. That's what I don't.
And Sarah Jessica Parker and her husband went to see it this weekend.
Oh my God, they
So now
are just
it's all-
really on the edge.
Now
Okay.
it's
When we come back, Hugh Hefner says he slept with 1,000 women, which, when you consider his age, really isn't that many. I mean, what is that? Like 3 a year, right? At the most. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm back with my Fame Stream panel. The Kardashian sisters may sue Ford for defamation over this ad for their European car Figo. It's so funny to me that this is what bothers them, but it's okay to get famous from a sex tape. I mean, what is this? So they're pissed off because they're bound and tied in this Figo, which is supposed to be some really cool car.
Right.
And it didn't.
And they're animated characters.
Right.
And they did other people like this. And Ford has since come out and apologized and said
But
it
it wasn't even, it was just an idea in a boardroom. It's like they were on Mad Men, and one of them was like, oh, look at this, and it got leaked, and now they're going to sue. I mean, how much attention do they need? I can't with them.
Oh, they need all the attention that they can
God.
get. That's what makes Kardashians
But
Kardashians.
all the dumb things that come out of their mouths, they should be bound and gagged. They got tied. Take off the feet, put it over their mouth.
I think they're just mad because Paris Hilton was maybe going to be in the commercial with them. They don't want her getting any attention.
Right.
I mean, she's almost a nobody at this point, and they've completely just taken over. So
And they are
they don't want her
fascinating.
back.
Yeah, I love that.
Does anyone really believe in Paris Hilton's driving a Ford Figo?
Yeah, right.
Or any of the
Exactly.
Kardashians for that point.
Exactly. And I think the guy who made the ad or the woman who made the ad should get a raise. Anyway, Hugh Hefner says he slept with 1,000 women. I am shocked. I mean, I didn't know there were that many blind women in America. What is this?
I don't believe that he's sleeping with all of these women.
Please.
At some point, it had to stop being sex. That's my feeling.
At some point, it doesn't work anymore. Okay.
Even no matter how much Viagra.
But he
you
also
have.
said that he used Viagra too, which is kind of cheating. It's almost
Right.
like sports guys using steroids and
Right,
PEDs.
exactly.
So I'm putting an asterisk next to that 1,000.
And they say Will Chamberlain slept with 20,000. 20,000,
Is it
which is
20,000?
yes, and that's more people that are watching the show right now. So, and then he also said he's never cheated on any of his wives.
Because he's been married, 3 or 4 times. He said when he was married, he was monogamous.
Uh-huh.
But when he wasn't, he made up for that time.
Right.
Hence the thousands of
Hence
women.
1,000. How many of you slept with
That's
Jim?
that's what every guy says.
Yeah.
You know, whenever. Yeah.
I mean, you're on the road.
Because if you get caught cheating, you're like, well, remember we broke up for like that 45 minutes
Right.
over the phone?
And I got 500
We had a
in
fight.
right there.
Yeah.
I thought we
Well,
were
you
broken
said
up.
we're done.
Yeah. So I thought we were done.
Well, I know some people that could use some condoms. That would be the Duggars. Now, the condoms thing would work if we had done the story about the condoms that was just cut. But anyway, thank you. Now, the Duggars, they have 19 kids, and now Michelle Duggar says that next year they might adopt a child, and the year after that, she might move into a shoe. What is going on here?
Well, they just came back. They filmed a special in China.
Oh, by the way, their show's on NBC. By the way, it's an NBC affiliate. So we'll hear how great the Duggars are.
I actually like them. I love people who love children. They clearly
19.
love children.
They have 19.
But they visited an orphanage when they were in China, and some of the
and
younger
the orphanage
kids
had less children than they have.
They realized how many kids were in need, and they said that some of their younger kids wanted more kids.
Yeah, I'm
in
sure
the
they wanted
family.
more kids. Hi, can you pay less attention to me? Can we bring more children into this house?
I've never seen the show, but I mean, they got to be good parents for 19 kids, and none of them ran away yet.
Right.
I got one kid. He's trying to cry out the window every night. So they're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest. I'm usually against these kind of, crazy extreme stories. But at the same time, it's not like they're Octomom who's just popping out kids and living off the government and living off taxpayers.
Right.
They're responsible parents. They're providing for the children. Any interview that I've ever seen them do, I mean, it seems like the family is very much intact with great morals, and they have a real sense of togetherness. And I don't know. I have to say that's a really rare thing. And if that's how they do it, then great.
And all the kids have J names. There's not another J name in the world.
You can make up names. Just take a name like Dorothy and call it Dorothy.
Dorothy, that's nice.
Well, they want to adopt like 2 Asian kids, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and they're homeschooling the kids, so maybe they're bad at math.
Right, so the Asian kids can teach the other kids the math.
Yeah, it's possible.
That's great, Jim.
I'm sorry. You said no one watches this. I'm not going to get in trouble. If it was NBC, I would have said that.
Of course not. And Ann Curry would be very mad at you. Jesse James, biker, tattoo artist, and cheater, got married for the 4th time this week, and gay people shouldn't be able to get married. And it was a beautiful ceremony. He was there with his family, his daughter, and his 3 future mistresses. This guy is like constant. What is the thing about why do you have to get married when you know you're going to cheat?
Why do you want to marry someone that you know will probably cheat on you? I don't know. And, her family has a fortune. Her father is, part co-founder of Paul Mitchell Hairline.
know.
Why?
I do wonder what women see in a guy that's constantly cheating.
Well, it's like, Tiger Woods. I mean, just recently I was talking about Tiger Woods' new girlfriend, Lindsey Vonn. And you have to stop and think to yourself, if you know that this person has a history of having mistresses and cheating on his wife, cheating on his family, basically, why would you ever step up, to the altar and marry that person or date that person?
Right.
And so you have to wonder. But at the same time, I do give Jesse James credit because I have some girlfriends and I have some guy friends who've been married once and divorced, and they're super jaded, and they say, forget it, I'm not getting married again.
Right.
That doesn't affect him at all.
I wouldn't give him credit for that.
Well, I know that. And Tiger, I know, is also really looking forward to getting to know the rest of the U.S. women's ski team as well. So that will work out. Jim, you're married, and you're on the road, and you have a kid.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I'm glad because, when Jesse James came out that he was a real scumbag.
Right.
I always wanted my son to be Jesse James Florentine. So as soon as he did all that stuff, I'm like, all right, forget it. Your name is Luke. So I'm glad. Seriously, because of him. I always Jesse James would be a cool name for my son, but after look, women like a bad boy. The guy's 50 years old, and these women are like 40. It's like, when are you going to get over that?
Right.
Sandra Bullock was Miss, Hollywood or whatever, Miss Nice, and she wanted the scumbag with the tattoos.
Well, that's another reason that I'm happy to be gay. Anyway, Jim Florentine will be appearing at the Taft Theater in Cincinnati on March 29th and Woodlands Tavern in Columbus, Ohio on March 30th. Thank you all so much. You were such a great panel. Thank you, Jackie, Jim, and Dorothy.
Thank you.
And all my guests that were on tonight, thank you. And of course, thank you to my friend Joy for letting me sit in. Joy, take your time getting better. And everyone here, the crew, you've all been just amazing. So thank you all. Thanks for watching, and good night, everybody.